Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donley Auctions Hour.
Welcome back to another episode of the Donley Auctions Hour, here with Mike and Randy Donley from Donley Auctions out in Union, Illinois. Hey, Randy.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, wow. What a week. Always.
I am still recovering from last weekend. That was quite a
great auction.
Yes,
what a great auction. It really was. So,
and you know, thanks for all the people that showed up. There was a lot of new faces there too, which is always important. You know, getting into the auction.
Well, you know, Mike. Yeah, I was surprised at how many new people were there because you know this. Excuse me. This summer's auction is kind of a new addition for us. Of course, we run the big April and November, what we call the classics.
Yeah,
our
spring and fall classics.
Yeah, and now we've added this summer, and not doing it in conjunction with the slot machine and jukebox show like the other auctions are. You never know how something like this is going to go, but wow. What a great auction! What a great turnout!
Yeah, some of the prices were just astounding. You want to give some of the highlights of?
Well, yeah, Mr. Peanut. You know, we're always telling you folks about advertising items and how great good advertising pieces can do. Well, our Planner's Peanut roaster display with Mr. Peanut, who was actually cranking the roaster, went for over $100,000. Yeah. It brought there's a buyer premium on the $95,000, so it actually ended up going for about $112,000.
That's pretty good money.
Wow. Yeah.
I think that's a record, probably.
I think it is. And then a couple bar items that were really cool was that ice shaver.
Yep.
An old cast iron ice shaver made by Bates Company that would sit on top of a bar back in the old saloon days in the 1880s, 90s, into the 1900s. Boy, that sold for almost $20,000.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the
malt mixer,
drink mixer, yeah. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really, at that point in time, it wasn't for malts yet. Right. Later, people were making malts out of it, but it was a drink mixing machine.
Hand-cranked. It did 2 drinks at a time, so it kind of shook them up and down as you turned the crank. And
again, just so neat. You know, that went for like $10,000.
Well, huge. You know, and this is the beauty, again, of an auction. The gentleman who brought those in had a preconceived notion of what he wanted out of them, and we blew his estimates away.
Well, yeah, he was hoping for about $3,000 apiece. Yeah, I mean, which is good money.
Good money, but when you have unusual and good items like that, people will bid on them, and you get 2 guys that want it. That's the fun of an auction. You just never know.
Yeah, it really was. Really was cool. And then, hey, how about that salesman sample?
Oh, yeah, the little Thresher salesman sample from the 1860s. Yeah.
Can you try to give a visual to people? I mean, it's so hard. We're sitting here and we know what these items are, and
right.
We just throw the word salesman sample out there. But how do you explain to somebody what that was?
If people are familiar with the early Cyrus McCormick Reapers, the horse-drawn Reapers.
I'm sure everybody out there is familiar with that, Mike.
Go
ahead.
That's kind of what it was. It was actually right around that time in the 1860s, a horse-drawn Reaper. Before this machine was invented, people had to go out there and cut and harvest everything by hand. Well, this machine was horse-drawn and allowed one rider to harvest, 20 or 30 acres a day, where it took 3 or 4 men a whole day to do an acre. So, I mean, this was a labor-saving device. So it looked like a small child's toy, very highly detailed child's toy of the horse-drawn Reaper. And these were salesmen's samples. Rather than they couldn't drag around the whole Reaper around the country.
Right.
So they would bring these small, highly detailed models to the farmers to show them exactly how it worked. So again, this walked in the original tin case. It had been in the same family for 4 generations with the letter of provenance from the man who worked at the Altman Miller factory in Ohio, back in the 1860s. A handwritten letter from him explaining what it was. And again, it had been in the same family for 4 generations. The gentleman walked in, and he was hoping for $300 to $500 for it. And I said, I think we could do a little better than that.
Wow.
And it ended up going for $7,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And one thing about salesman samples is that, as you just said, it looks like a toy, a highly detailed toy. So in years later, I mean, these things are over 100 years now. So at some point in time during that period of time, normally they got used as toys.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it becomes a toy, it gets busted up and broken, as many toys do. And so very few of these exist as original salesman samples. So there's that. But we had a couple salesman samples in this auction. And, again, everything did very well.
Jukeboxes did good. Slot machines did extremely well. I thought the prices overall were very strong, which is very encouraging. So
well, it is, and that's an interesting thing to bring up is the fact that prices were strong, because right now going into the auction, everybody was nervous about what's going on with this election.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? Do we sell? Do we hold? It's a scary thing. People were, I know, holding off on consignments for us, thinking this might not be the time to sell.
Right.
They wanted to wait and see what the results of the auction were. But this proved that the election really didn't faze the auction world at all.
No, the best of the best still brings good money.
So speaking of which, if you need money, we know people are all, complaining about the economy and how they are or are not doing and everything. So if you need money, now's the time, folks. Give us a call. We can help you. Our motto here is we make it fit in your wallet. Well, we can turn this into to money for you in just a matter of months.
Give us a call at 815-923-7000 or email us at Donley Auctions, consign at DonleyAuctions.com. And you can go up and look at our website, too, and look at the type of things we're looking for that we can help you sell. And our girls are always accepting emails and texts and such with photographs, and they bring them right to Randy's and I attention. And if it's something we feel we can help you on, we jump right on it.
You bet. And to that point, too, if you want to see past auction results, there is a button on the website for you to go to past auctions because we want you to look at the results and see what kind of prices we're getting for stuff. We're very proud of the prices. Speaking of which, some of the other things that sold are the old cars.
Yeah, we had quite a few cars, most of them unrestored.
Yep, and that's it. Our old barn find cars, they sell well. They sell well, but if you're comparing them to the prices of a restored car, you just can't. They're night and day. Considering that a barn find traditionally is something that's been laying around for 40 years, totally unrestored. Very often, raccoons get into the interiors, or mice have eaten the wiring looms and everything. So traditionally, a barn find needs everything. And the reality is, in auto world, the cost of restoration to restore an old car today almost always exceeds the cost of the restored item. So it's very hard to restore a car today and ever come out financially. So barn finds, they all sell. They sell well. But when you compare the prices again to a restored car, they don't come close.
No, so many people buying these things are buying them as props too. An old pickup truck somebody will buy for a prop at a flower store, fill the back of it with flowers, or a fruit and vegetable store. We've seen that many times. So.
Yeah, so the average price that we were selling cars for was, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, but some of them were $10,000, $18,000. It depends on the car. So cars, again, did well in this auction.
Yeah, so give us a call if you got cars that have been laying in the garage and you have to get rid of. I mean, we'll sell them for you.
November's around the corner, and we do need more cars.
Yep.
And motorcycles, of course.
Yep.
The motorcycles did okay. A couple of them did not sell.
But the scooters did great.
I thought so, yeah. They brought, with BP, probably about 5,000 each.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, again, but nice pieces. And but we've got a whole list of what we're looking for the next auction, and we'll be talking about that in the next segment. Time is fleeting right past us right now, but...
So, yeah, stay tuned. We've got a lot to talk about in the next segments here and upcoming auctions and such. And so stay tuned to the Donley Auction Hours right here on AM 560, The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back. You're here with Mike and Randy Donley from Donley Auctions out in Union, Illinois. We're talking about past auctions we've just done and a lot of upcoming things, what we're looking for to help you liquidate your collections and give you some money to spend.
You know, Mike, one of the things, again, in that last auction that I thought did well were some of the chandeliers. You know, the old cast iron chandeliers that had kerosene lamps in them. Those cast iron chandeliers, they're really, an Eastlake period?
Eastlake design,
yeah. So that dates them just post-Civil War, 1860s right on through 1890s, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. And, of course, the bigger the better. But these chandeliers, totally unrestored, just the cast iron frames, were selling, $700 to $1,500 a piece. And a good 12-arm, which we did not have in this auction. We've had them in past auction. But a good 12-arm cast iron chandelier, folks, can bring you $12,000. Mm-hmm. So always call us with these old cast iron, especially 12 arms. They're the best. But they made them in all different sizes, 6-arm, 4-arm, even 2-arm. Even singles, for that matter, and they all sell.
So many times when we find these too, they're disassembled because they disassemble fairly easy, and we find them in boxes. So there'll be a whole box of parts laying there. Sometimes people don't even recognize what they are. So it's something you should go up on our website and look and see exactly what these are. You may have one laying in your attic. You never know.
Yep. And we're always looking for more. What else are we looking for right now, Mike? I have to say, Mike, that I was surprised one item that did not sell was the bar. The Brunswick-style bar and back bar that we had did not sell in this auction, and that surprises me because almost every bar we ever put in there flies out of there. So to me, that's a sign that right now the restaurant business might be slow on starts. Because when the restaurant business is booming, mm-hmm. So is the bar business, and people always looking for bars and back bars.
Yeah, we get calls from when they need them, that's for sure.
But that does not mean we're not looking for another one. We need more for November. Mm-hmm. Bars and back bars and anything saloon-related.
Or ice cream parlor, too, because a lot of the ice cream parlors had back bars look like the saloon back bars and such, but they're usually a smaller scale and much more fancy. Usually they'll have leaded glass and lighting and leaded lamps in them and such. So
yeah, and columns, sometimes mm-hmm. Marble columns and everything. So the fancier they are, of course, the better they are. And even barbershop bars, back bars. Yeah. Are very popular. That's something else. The barber chair that was in the auction did well. I mean, so again, stuff is selling right now, folks. But we need your merchandise and the Petroliana. Mm-hmm. Again, I thought Petroliana did exceptionally well. The restored pieces brought great money. The unrestored still brought good money for what it was. Mm-hmm.
The signs did well too, as always.
Mm-hmm. anything in gas pumps, always need more. So, but September's around the corner.
Around the
folks.
corner, Gun and
boy.
Military. September, Gun and Military, that'll be on the 21st and 22nd of September, So
you still have time, and we still need more. As a matter of fact, we can add more guns to the September auction, and that's not just one item. I mean, if you have an entire collection, if you had 400 guns, we can take them right now for the September auction. Again, 1, 10, 20, 100, and that's pistols, rifles, shotguns. Doesn't matter if they're antique, modern, hunting. I mean, any style of weaponry, and it doesn't have to just be guns. We do swords, daggers, knife collections. Oh, didn't we just take in a nice knife collection?
Unbelievable, yeah. A lot of nice case brand knives and such that are...
We just took in this super knife collection, almost all folding knives, and there were a few switchblades there, maybe 50, were there 50? Probably 50 switchblades in there. I mean, this knife collection is 700-800 knives, and really great brands, but a lot of case knives.
Right. I don't know when we're going to do that one. Is that still pending yet when that's going to be sold?
Yeah. Now, that's a collection, folks, that'll be done unto itself. So that's not going to be part of the September. But we can get your knives in September if you have a smaller collection that you want us to sell. Anything in knives, uniforms. Oh, my goodness. We're always looking for uniforms, helmets, any pieces, parts, anything. But right now, we definitely need more guns for September.
Yeah, and as we always say, we are federally licensed firearm dealers, so we handle all the paperwork to make sure it's all done legally. The last thing you want to do is sell a gun and not have the proper paperwork, because that can come back to bite you years later. So whether it's through us or whoever, when you go to sell a gun, it has to be done through a federally licensed firearm dealer to ensure that you're doing it properly and legally. And we handle all that for you. We handle the transfers, the shipping, everything. And our fees are very modest for what we do for you. I mean, all the photography and descriptions. We have Neil, who handles our guns, is just phenomenal on descriptions and such. And we sell our guns all over the United States. I mean, we ship everywhere, and we do it all legally, shipping to other FFLs. So please, before you just sell a gun randomly to a friend or something like that, you have to make sure you're doing it properly.
Well, and you have to know the value. You can't.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah,
can't just play the best guessing game at what stuff is worth. So, and that goes for if you're an executor of an estate, call us. If you're a lawyer and have estate work or any of these things, we can help you all.
Yeah, or if you have a friend, maybe your next door neighbor has lost her husband or something, and do her a favor and give us her number, and we'll help her out.
I'm not trying to be all over the board, Mike, with going back and forth on this, but I was just looking at the list of some of the things that sold in last week's auction, and that Behringer motion display was really neat. That did $8,000. I mean, there was a popcorn trailer. Brought $7,000, but the aquarium, wasn't that a neat piece?
That was really cool. Yeah. That was. I think they were originally made by the Jewel Aquarium Company.
You're correct. It was a Jewel Seahorse base aquarium.
Yeah, the base is like the legs of the base are seahorses, and it's a copper oxidized frame. It's just gorgeous. It's hard to explain. Again, you'd have to go up and see it. But it's a big tank and a heavy tank. And we delivered that thing to Chicago last week, remember?
Yes, we did. To a home in Chicago.
I'll bet you that thing weighed 300 pounds.
Yeah, and that was $6,000. So
yeah, what a beauty, though.
But one of my favorite pieces was that old ice cream bicycle.
Yeah, like when we were kids, and you hear the guy with the bicycle coming down the street with the bells on the handlebar. That was ringing.
Oh, neat, totally restored.
Oh,
piece.
That was a beauty. In fact, I think the guy who bought it, because he was having an ice cream social, wasn't he?
He did. He said, "My wife's having an ice cream social this week." He said, "I got this just in time." They were going to use it as a display piece. Who has ice cream socials anymore? That's amazing.
I'd go to one.
Yeah, I would go to one in a heartbeat. So you can invite Mike and I to your next ice cream social. Yeah. We'll be there.
Mm-hmm. With our big spoons.
Oh, my goodness. But, again, we better get back to the basics. Yeah, I mean, we're here to tell people what we're looking for the next auctions. And our job for you is to help you sell your antiques and collectibles and so on and so forth. We need pictures. The easiest way to make this happen fast is for you to just text us photos or email us photos. So call the office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's 815-923-7000. Talk to one of the girls who answer the phone. They'll be happy to help you and walk you through the process. And we're usually back to you within a day at the most, sometimes as quick as an hour. I mean,
and if you need to talk to Mike or I, just call that number and ask for us. I mean, we'll get on the phone right away and help you out. And again, all the information you get from us is free. We're not
and strictly confidential.
Charging.
And strictly confidential.
There you go. That's a very important part too.
So we've got more to talk about. We'll be back in just a minute after the break here. You're listening to Donley Auction Hours here on AM 560.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back once again here with Mike and Randy Donley from Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're talking about upcoming auctions and what we're looking for that we can help you sell. We just touched on our gun and military, September 21st and 22nd, so please call us with any guns, military items, anything you have to sell. Something new for us we're going to try here in October. We're calling it our Rocktober. It's going to be vintage guitars and keyboards, musical instruments, amplifiers, any type of music we're gonna do in October, and we're calling it our Rocktober auction.
Well, yeah, you always hit it right on the head when you talk about what we're looking for and what we've been doing. I mean, we've been doing music our whole lives,
right?
I mean, but and we have sold guitars individually. I mean, we've sold guitars as high as $40,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're no strangers to the music, but we've never had one so themed toward guitars. I mean, there's over 100 guitars in this auction already.
Yeah.
There are autographed guitars, but I mean, there's really great guitars. We're talking Fenders and Gibsons and Martin. Yeah, I mean, you name it. We've got some expensive, high grade pieces for you. So if you're a buyer, you definitely want to keep an eye on this auction because it's highlight already, but we're still looking for more.
Yes, anything rock and roll memorabilia too. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, if you had an outfit from Elvis that he wore, or
oh, you think?
Well, stuff's out there. It's laying around. Anything vintage rock and roll from the 60s, 50s, 60s, or 70s. I mean, we've sold drumsticks from the Grateful Dead. What was the drummer's name in the Grateful Dead that we sold as drumsticks? And one of the drum kits?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name now. But I mean, you've set records on posters from Grateful Dead and such from sales.
Yeah, just tens of thousands of dollars. There was one poster that went over $25,000.
I mean, what do we sell? Jerry Garcia's black T-shirt from his last concert that he wore.
$21,000 for just a T-shirt. Yes. Yeah, but it was documented. It had provenance. I mean, it was amazing. The Jerry Garcia stuff just went crazy, though.
Yeah, so anything from, Chicago had some great bands, too, back in the 60s and 70s. So, if any of you guys from the old bands out there, the Buckinghams, Ides of March, any of you guys out there listening, you have memorabilia from your bands and stuff, we can sell it for you and bring big money for it.
That we can. You just never know. You know, I was talking to a woman the other day. Her husband took her to a Elvis concert. You mentioned Elvis. And Elvis came off stage, sang Love Me Tender to her, and handed her his guitar pick. I mean, she'll never sell it, but wow, what a great piece. And
Beatles memorabilia is always still big.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have any signed photos of them or anything like that, that brings a lot of money.
Yeah, but a lot of the you mentioned the costuming. A lot of the costuming sells for again huge money. So anything band related, we're looking for Rocktober.
Yep.
And moving on, what comes after Rocktober, Mike?
We have the Fall Classic, our probably the biggest auction of the year. We always do. This year will be November 14th through 17th. It's a 4-day auction.
Multi-million-dollar auction, and you want to get in it, folks. This is something that if you've got anything, I mean, that's really high grade or great in the antiques world, you want to be in this auction.
Yep. Automobiles, especially. We've taken in a couple great automobiles already. That Ford Galaxy, and that 65 Mustang that's all been restored in marine colors, red, white, and blue. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've already got a couple great cars come in for November and more on the way. 60s muscle cars are right now probably the hottest. I mean, if you have a 60s muscle car, you know, these Dodge Chargers, Mustangs, Barracudas, anything that was hot back then will bring good money right now.
Well, it's funny because of all the collectible items on Earth right now, it seems like, you know, when you get out of the art world of paintings and everything, cars are probably the hottest, best items to sell. I mean, cars now go into the millions.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned out of the art world. How many times do we hear the guys that are buying them, they say, this is art to me. They'll buy them and put them in their homes or their man caves just to look at them. They're just happy to sit there, not even drive them. It's a piece of art to them.
Well, Mike, how many times, this is true story, folks, how many times we go into homes and there are totally restored cars sitting in the living room.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they're big living rooms, folks. This is no Chicago bungalow living room, but
motorcycles hanging above the fireplace.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy, wild stuff. Yeah,
motorcycles too. We're looking for. I mean, anything you have, anything from the Hondas from the '60s and the Yamahas and such like that. Those '60s bikes, those early Japanese bikes, are bringing crazy money too now. Oh, my goodness, the segment is flown by here.
No, not fair. We need more time.
So we'll be back right after the break to talk more about upcoming auctions and what we're looking for. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Back once again with Mike and Randy Donley from Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. And during the break, we were talking about provenance of things here. And Keith, when we were talking about the Beatles before we went to break, and Keith, our producer, was telling us a little story about his mother. And go ahead, Keith, tell us what you got.
Yeah, guys, my mom was at one of the Beatles concerts at Comiskey Park in the 60s. I think she might have actually been at both, but at one of them she was actually with her friend waiting outside the stadium for them to come out after the concert. And they walked by, and John Lennon dropped his candy bar wrapper, and she actually picked it up, and she still has it to this day.
Now, see, that's an item.
That's a great item.
Yeah, and okay, here's what it has to be done with that. You have to sit down with her and get the whole story, and
type
ask
it
her
up.
questions about it. Type it up, or handwritten is even better. Date it and sign it. But that letter of provenance will help the item. I mean, if somebody walked up with a Clark bar wrapper, what kind of candy bar was it, by the way?
It was a Baby Ruth wrapper.
A Baby Ruth, even better, Chicago brand, right in Chicago. So with that letter, anything she would have, if she had the ticket stubs from the concert, any photos from the day, anything she would have.
A picture of her with her girlfriends there or something.
Yeah.
Put it all together as a group. Wow.
Then that becomes something. And, that'll sell. That'll, believe it or not, there's people that bring big money because they figure, maybe John Lennon's DNA is in here or something like that.
Yeah.
That'll bring big money.
She could have the key to cloning John Lennon.
There you go. Yeah.
Very possible. But, and you know what? It's crazy because there are definitely people who collect DNA. The person who bought Jerry Garcia's shirt, in fact, wanted it because it had never been laundered, and he wanted truly Jerry Garcia's DNA. Mm-hmm. So there are DNA collectors out there. So, okay.
Thank you, Keith, for that for chiming in on the story.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about, folks. When you have something that is one of a kind like that, you are the story. You have to write it because after you're gone or whatever, unless that's all documented, then that story goes away. And that's the provenance is what will sell an item sometimes, many times.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what's our next auction coming up?
I think we're still talking about the Fall Classic right now. Things we're looking for, cars, motorcycles, slot machines, jukebox, any of your game room, pinball machines, any coin-operated games. As a matter of fact, what else do we architecture, old bars and back bars, saloon doors sell well. Chandeliers.
Oh yeah, leaded glass windows. I mean, even if they're church windows, as long as they're good ones. Mm-hmm. But leaded glass is still selling crazy good. And railroad memorabilia, my goodness.
Yeah, we've had some crazy stuff. Those hand cars.
Oh yeah, I mean the Velocipede, that we had in this last auction. We're looking for more railroad items. Even that big railroad. Light did extremely well.
Yeah. Signs, definitely signs. We need a sign collection. Big gas and oil signs, gas pumps, any advertising signs, whether they be porcelain or tin litho.
But the bigger, the better.
Yeah.
We need some really big stuff, and we need a lot of it right now. And lighting,
Yeah, big chandeliers or table lamps, leaded lampshades for table lamps and such. They bring still very strong money.
Original Tiffany lamps, always looking for that. And we need a lot of slot machines for this auction because they've been selling so well overseas. Jukeboxes and slot machines in our last auction last week. Mm-hmm. How much of that went overseas? That was crazy.
The majority. I was on the phone with the Netherlands, and they bought a lot of stuff.
Oh, my goodness. They literally filled a container. They've got a container coming to our location that's going to be filled with goodies and merchandise. So,
you know what else we have coming up in the Fall Classic, which is kind of new for us, but it's something that came our way, was the one-cylinder hit-and-miss gas engine collection.
So we're going to do a whole day of that, right?
Yeah, it's going to be on Sunday, the 18th. All gas engines, steam engines. So anything in that realm that you have, gas or steam.
And now it's my understanding we're adding tractors.
Right. People contact us with tractors.
Right. So the Sunday in our November Classic is going to be not only one-cylinder hit-and-miss and steam engines and all this, but we're adding tractors to it. So, again, if you have a whole collection of John Deere tractors out there or one or a whole collection, we're going to be your guys to sell them and make it fit in your wallet.
Yep, and we have a beautiful property to be able to sell them at and display them there. So, and we do all the photography, the descriptions, and we sell those things worldwide. So,
yeah, we do. Yeah.
So that's the Fall Classic in November 14th through 17th. So if you have anything that you think will fit into that, I mean, the crazier the better, the bigger the better. I mean, statues, anything. We just sold some beautiful those garden statues, those zinc garden statues.
Those did well. Yeah,
those
they came out of a Lake Forest estate.
So anything, the more expensive, the better. We have buyers for it. People want to spend money. And
I keep saying this when we talk about statues. If you're a municipality or a park district and need to get statues out of your location, for whatever reasons, we can turn it into cash for you. We can make it fit in your wallet. Mm-hmm. So, and cannons. We need cannons for our military.
For our Civil War auction coming. We'll be talking about that in the next segment here.
Oh, the Civil War. Wow. Yeah. Let's discuss that in length.
So stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Donley Auctions Hour, here with Mike and Randy Donley from Donley Auctions. And we're talking about upcoming auctions and what we're looking for. One of our biggest auctions is actually winter, I guess it would be, late fall, early winter, will be our Civil War and Native American and Western Americana collection. That's December 14th and 15th.
And before we get started on that, Mike, if you don't mind, I wanted to remind everybody that we also do private sales for you. I mean, we've had a lot of people that have said, hey, I don't want my collection auctioned, but I want to sell my collection for X amount of dollars, $100,000, $1 million. I mean, and we find buyers for people all the time where it might not go through auction, but as a private sale. Just last year, we sold 2 collections for over $1 million each just last year alone. So if you have a big collection that you want us to sell as a private sale, please call us.
And, yes, and to that point, Randy, on both of those collections, we were brought in to help evaluate the collection and get them the most money, and we exceeded their expectations.
We certainly did, especially on one. We said, right now, what will you take for the collection? And I think his answer was, I don't know, $500,000-$600,000. We said, well, how about if we get you $1 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we did. Yep.
We certainly did.
So don't shortchange your collections. I mean,
call us.
Just because you paid a little bit for it 30 or 40 years ago doesn't mean it's not worth a lot of money now. So anyway, our Civil War auction coming up.
Yes.
We have museum quality items coming up in the Civil War.
It's the best private Civil War collection I've ever seen.
Yes,
ever.
And we've been to museums don't have this type of stuff,
right?
Or this quantity of it. They'll have 1 or 2 pieces. The uniforms, the guns, the swords, the photography, the documents. This man had the means to collect the best, and he did. So it is just going to be unbelievable. And we're adding to that also Native American collectibles. We have a collection coming in soon for Native American that we want to add to, and Western America, any cowboy items you have, because it all kind of flows together in the same genre.
That's right, but don't think we're not taking more Civil War.
Oh, right, yeah, no, we need more. And I think, Randy, you said at the end of the last segment, we need a cannon. Whether it be a reproduction or an original, we'd love to have an original, but a Civil War era cannon, usually big bronze barrels, and they're pretty big. And you talked about municipalities. There's municipalities that have to get rid of these. We've sold things for cities before they become what's called an attractive nuisance, and the insurance companies want them gone because
Sure.
Kids playing on them and getting them hurt and such like that, or getting vandalized. So if any of the cities out there are getting rid of any of these field pieces or anything, we can help you with that.
Without a doubt.
So anyway, we had a lot to talk about this weekend, and please give us a call at 815-923-7000 or email us at Donley Auctions at Outlook.com, and we'll be able to help you with whatever you have that you need to sell. We'd want to talk to you and help you sell what you need to get rid of.
Right. Just send us photographs.
Yeah. Like I say, estates, lawyers, such like that. Give us a call, 815-923-7000. And looks like we're at the end of another segment.
We're out of
here.
time. I want to say hi to my friends, the Teskas.
Yeah. And
some of our regular listeners.
And I want to thank Keith Conrad as our producer, as always. And as always, I'm Mike.
And I'm Randy Donley. And we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonleyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonleyAuctions.com.